Hello, it's Matt here again, and in this video I will be covering the word benefit and explaining to people everything that I've talked about so far as a generalized term for people in the United States who read things. You may have a problem with it, so let me explain by using the word benefit. All right, so first off, everything that I'm talking about in these previous segments leads up into something I'll be bringing up about the cards, because this is key here as far as the word's benefits. Now, I want to be clear. 98% of people in the United States don't read what they're signing. Okay, it's like a phone app. They don't read what they're signing. They just click "I agree" and that's it. 2% of the people in the United States actually read it. However, out of those 2%, 1.5% of the people who read it don't understand it. So you can read through it, but you're not going to understand it. There's only a 0.5% of people in the United States who not only read these contracts, but understand how they're put together. Now, one of the frustrating things for me when I talk to a customer service rep is the word manipulation that goes on that they're not aware that they're doing, and this comes from corporate because they're so used to dealing with people that are just rolling over for this, who don't even know to ask these questions because they don't understand how they're put together, that there actually is a problem. So unfortunately, customer service ran into me, and it turns into a shit show because they're trying to state something I know for a fact is not true, because that's what corporate told them to say, and they're going to be right no matter what because they've just been told how to do this. So what happens here is I've had people say certain phrases to me. It's like, well, you're the only one that's had this problem, or I've never encountered this before. You're the only one that's, I've never heard of anybody else having this problem. So if you ever run into that with customer service, this is what you really need to do to this. Just because there isn't just because nobody said it doesn't mean there's not a problem, because the stuff is written so complex that you either A, don't realize that there's a problem, B, you wouldn't know how to phrase the question, or C, neither one of those because you just accept it as it is and wouldn't think anything. So my point is that it's not that there's a problem. It's just I understand how to read this stuff and I'm not a normal person when I call these places, because the questions I ask are abnormal. Like some of the stuff I've had to be patched through to a supervisor. So what does that have to do with the word benefits? Okay, so the word benefits is a generalized term like the word coverage, except it's a little bit more complex because there's various things that are involved with this. Now, this has to do with the context it's being used in. And again, this has to do with the cards segment about the cards I'll be talking about, and something that United Healthcare had said on their website as far as these cards. So this all again has to deal with everything that's being worded. You have to understand what's being said and what is actually going on. So this is why it's a bit ridiculous. So the first thing you need to understand is that the word benefit is a generic term that is still not defined, okay? It would appear it was defined because of certain subject matter that's talking about because of the context, but it still isn't been defined. And again, this will be, what I'm talking about now will become clear in the card segment of what I'm talking about. I just want to keep these two videos separate. So the word benefit is a problem because the benefit can mean anything from a positive all the way up to an actual, added bonus or something like that. So it's kind of hard to explain without going into that in the segment, but I just wanted to get that out of the way about the word benefit. All right, so when you have that word being misconstrued, you wind up running into a problem with customer service, which branches off into a bunch of other things, to the point where corporate has given customer service representatives certain information that they didn't give other customer service representatives. So I'm going to tell you a quick story here about what happened when my wife and I were on the phone with this, with two different agents from the same section of the organization. All right, so what happens here is over the course of a month, I talked to 30 different people in various departments, various organizations, and other such places. In a long story, but I've talked to 30 different people in a month. I got different information about the same thing from all different people. I had some people that didn't know certain information that the other people did, and vice versa. So every agent I talked to knew something that the other agent didn't. And to make matters worse, it was generic stuff, because one of the situations I'll be going over that happened to have the word benefit in it. And when I was asking questions, I literally had to rephrase the question I was doing to break down in specifics to tell the customer service rep what I was actually asking. Because the customer service rep has a generic thing that's told by corporate. And they're like, no, that's not how this works. And this is partly why you can't get your questions answered when you call, because the stuff is worded so ridiculous that you literally have to break down and explain precisely what you're asking, the context it's used in, and what you're stating in order to even get your question out, never mind have it answered. But even still, this reverts back to the phone call I was talking about when these two people talked to the IRS. No matter what they said, the representative didn't want to hear it, or didn't care, or was rolling their eyes and said that's not how that works, despite the two of them were in the right. So it's very frustrating to not only not be able to ask your question right, but also because of the way things are worded, you're generically being applied words that have multiple meanings, multiple contexts, and multiple things in them that even when you and the rep wind up talking about stuff, you're not even talking about the same thing, and both of you are under the assumption you are. And that is because the wording has not been defined. It hasn't been defined on anything what you're talking about. So when I talk to a customer service rep, because again, this segment I'll be going over, when you see this, you're going to go, what the hell is going on with this? But I literally, when I was explaining this, a certain situation to the rep, I had to have them Google pictures of what I was actually talking about, because the descriptions they were giving were so vague. They applied to multiple things, and they were asking me questions. I'm like, I can't answer that because I don't know what you're actually asking. The rep's like, how do you not know what I'm asking? And this is why wording and things is so confusing in this, because corporate does this on purpose. They want to leave it out. They've literally created a mess for absolutely no reason by simply not assigning certain key definitions, phrases, and words, meaning, and context before talking about them. And they just throw the stuff out there because it's generalized context that can be applied anywhere. So, as I've said before, if you can interpret something being said to you multiple ways, it's not explained right. Now, in customer service defense, if you have talked to several other customer service representatives to try to get an answer, and then you've talked to somebody else, what's going on here is a pattern of you're not getting an answer, but you're getting information from all these other reps that you didn't have before. So you slowly start to gain information from various reps. And the reps don't realize that you've talked to other reps getting this information. So when you talk to a rep and they say something that the previous rep did say or didn't say, or was contradictory, you're like, well, that's not what that rep says. And then every rep is saying, listen to me, because this is how this works. And now you don't know what the hell is actually going on. So again, what does this have to do with the word benefit? Exactly what I just explained, which I'll be using the word benefit and these examples in an actual segment of that I'll be doing regarding the cards, because this is a mess. So I just want you to basically get a gist of exactly why you're having a problem, what's causing it, and all this other stuff, because it's a mess. Now, bringing your attention to the website. The website is impossible to navigate through. So again, I'm going to use I'm going to be talking about the website in the next segment, because there's, again, the key wording on this is the words, the definitions, and everything else. So if you're having a problem with the website, the next segment is going to explain to you why. So, it's Matt. See ya.